Eric's Guitar Amplifier Repair, helping musicians to perform better.
Welcome to Eric's Guitar Amplifier Repair here in California. My name is Eric. Today on the test bench we have a Marantz 2265B. Customer complaint, channels cutting in and out, scratchiness when turning up and down the volume, so on and so forth. These are common problems for the Marantz product. Amplifiers made in the 1970s and 80s. This will be a short video. I didn't realize that this was an almost pristine amplifier until I removed the enclosure. And unfortunately I didn't get a shot of the front panel and the rear panel. It was just an amazingly pristine looking amplifier, although it had these problems, these ailments. This video, very brief video, is meant for some technicians, but I think maybe will be useful or some knowledgeable information for the person who owns a Marantz and maybe is capable of using a soldering iron and would like to just fix his amplifier on his own. Let's move on to the next segment.
Alright, so we're looking at a 2265B Marantz, and this came in for intermittent sound, crackling and popping, and one channel was coming in and out. And this is very common for the Marantz product. It's very normal for that to happen. What you normally do is just go and start with a recap, and if there's any transistors that need to be replaced, you replace them. Looking at this particular Marantz, however, I noticed that the circuit board looks pretty good. As a matter of fact, I don't think this has gotten a lot of hours. You can just tell by looking at the capacitors and the transistors, and yeah, so that's interesting. My first move is always to change the relay, and this relay is by Radwell, and the original relay I will show you now is by Deck. I don't know if you can see that there. There you go. Yeah, so that usually is the first step that I like to do, and once I replace the relay, I test the amp right away, and I use headphones. I don't hook it up to speaker terminal yet. And I found that really cleaned up the whole sound right off the bat. Changing the relay pretty much fixed all of the intermittents. Now I went ahead and did the deoxit and all of the volume potentiometers, volume pots, and the switch as well. Took care of all of that and tested again, and found that indeed the amplifier sounded brand new. It really sounded unusually good for an amplifier of this age. Now this is the 2265B, so this might be early 80s, late 70s. One thing I did notice was that the rhythm of the music wasn't to my liking. It was sort of the decay of the reverbs and cymbals and so on and so forth, kind of chopped off. So I chose to put in new filter capacitors. The filter capacitor that's in there originally, which I'll show you now, is practically brand new. It's in pristine condition. It looks like it's had almost no hours on it, or very limited hours. Nevertheless, this is made by Nippon. In any case, this is a pretty old design for an electrolytic, and so I happen to have Nichicon Gold 3,300 microfarad at 63 volts. Originally this is a 1,000 microfarad at 55 volts, so over-engineered that replacement, and the purpose was I knew that was going to help get that rhythm back, to get that sort of natural long decay in the reverbs and the music, so on and so forth. And sure enough, um, it sounds fantastic. Now I know that there are some technicians that'll put in a 6,800 microfarad, and that really boosts the bass and the high end, and I totally recommend doing that if that's something that you want to do. At the very least, you can do a 1,200 microfarad at 63 volts. That's fine. That'll clean things up regardless if the original electrolytics are in good condition. It's just a more modern and usually a better uh, sounding electrolytic. I like Nishikon Golds, and that's what's in here. And so, yes, very fortunate to have an amplifier here that hasn't had too many hours. That's a Marantz. I know that the customer, this was owned by his father, and he inherited this amplifier. So this guy really lucky to get something like this. This is the first almost pristine Marantz that I've ever seen, and I've done hundreds of Marantzes in the past. They all have the same problems. They can be a little bit of a pain in the ass to fix, although the circuit design's pretty good. I'm going to button this up at this point because the lights work fine. Like I said, I did the deoxit on everything. The back RCA plugs look brand new. I'm just going to maybe dust the inside just for my own. No one's going to see the inside but me, but I want to clean up that part of the dust and whatnot. And then we'll check the voltages and do all the test procedures, but most likely this is going to pass everything. I really feel like this hasn't been played that much, so I just wanted to share that with you out there and the technicians as well. For those who are doing this by themselves, I do recommend going ahead, and the first step, like I said before, is to replace the relay, and this may solve a lot of your problems, those of you who are able to use a soldering iron properly and just want to do a simple fix. This tends to fix a lot of the issues if it's not a overly used Marantz. Marantzes are used with a lot of hours after 20-30 years, and so if you get lucky like this particular client, yeah, you're lucky. Eric's Guitar Amplifier Repair, helping musicians to perform better.